Michael Chandler takes on Charles Oliveira at UFC 309 next Saturday, November 16th. And honestly, I've seen a lot of people say, Michael Chandler, look at his physique. Michael Chandler, he's been preparing for so long. Michael Chandler, this layoff, he's going to come back so much better. I honestly feel the exact opposite way. Michael Chandler is coming off of a 2-year-long layoff. All right, he's 38 years old, and he was preparing for Conor McGregor. Preparing for Conor McGregor and preparing for Charles Oliveira is just a completely different ballgame. Charles Oliveira is an absolute dog on the feet. He has crazy submissions on the ground. If Michael Chandler tries to wrestle with him and hold him down, Oliveira is going to get him. I'm very, very confident that Oliveira is going to submit him. He had a great fight against Arman Tsarukyan, had some super, super locked-in submissions, just couldn't get him to tap. And honestly, I feel like Charles Oliveira is going to really, really mess up Michael Chandler. I honestly feel like he's going to knock him out in the second, maybe the third round, but I honestly don't think so. I'm not sure if this is a 5-round event, but I don't even think it could be a 5-round or a 3-round co-main event. It's not going to matter. This fight's not going past round 3. Okay, let's be real. I honestly think that Charles Oliveira is going to knock him out in the second. If you look at Michael Chandler's last fights, he's absolutely great in the first round, but he completely falls off after that. His first round against Charles Oliveira, beat him up completely. Then, 5 seconds into the second round, Oliveira knocks him out. All right, first round against Dustin Poirier, completely destroys him in the first round. In the second round and the third round, he gets destroyed, he gets choked out. All right, Justin Gaethje looks great, wins the first round. Second and third, he gets destroyed. Okay, Tony Ferguson is the one time where he's been able to really dominate someone past round 1, and that's Tony Ferguson. That's a bad Tony Ferguson. That's not a prime Tony Ferguson. That's not a pre-Justin Gaethje Tony Ferguson. That is a real, real trash Tony Ferguson. So I cannot really be picking Michael Chandler to win this fight. The only people that Michael Chandler has proven to be able to beat is Dan Hooker and Tony Ferguson. Dan Hooker and Tony Ferguson. And it's a Dan Hooker that's bad. It's not current Dan Hooker. Obviously, that Dan Hooker one's aging great, knocking out Dan Hooker in the first round. If you've seen his chin in his last couple fights, he's a complete animal. He's a complete dog, one of the best fighters to watch fight. But I just don't think that Michael Chandler's going to be able to get it done. Charles Oliveira has insane pressure, pretty good chin. Sometimes he's a quitter, but most of the time he's not, man. Most of the time he's not, and I really do not think that we're going to see a quitting version of Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira has probably been reflecting on his last loss against Arman Tsarukyan. He's taken on a guy that's 38 years old, about to be 39, coming off of a 2-year-long layoff, who, keep in mind, was preparing for Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor is not the same. A current Conor McGregor is not the same as Charles Oliveira, man. And I also think that Charles Oliveira is going to completely destroy him. I am going to take Charles Oliveira by a second-round KO. But this fight, man, it's going to be a great one. It's going to be a war for as long as it lasts. And Michael Chandler is going to have his moments. I do think he's going to win the first round. He's just going to do what he always seems to do and just completely he's just going to completely turn off the heat after the first round. And I think that he's going to get knocked out pretty early into the second round. I don't know if it's a 5-round co-main event. If it is, I don't even think it's going to play a factor at all. Give me Charles Oliveira by a second-round KO. Who's with me?